Hey everybody, this is Carl back again for another discussion video. Haven't done this in a hot minute, but I really want to talk about something that I've been pondering since earlier today. It's kind of like a spur of the moment kind of thing. I just wanted to really kind of touch on. Before we get into that, please follow me in the links in the description below. My YouTube channel, youtube.com/talkativecarl. My Twitch, where I stream a bunch of games, which currently right now I'm going through Destiny 2, eventually get into the Lightfall story. Then later on this week I'll be playing Street Fighter 6 as well, so hop on and watch me and chat with me live as I'm going through that. You can also check out my Patreon, where you can put in certain suggestions for reviews, whether it's TV, movie, comic, or just a general topic like a discussion video. And first Patreon members get first viewing, as well as follow me on my Twitter at talkativecarl as well. And of course, if you haven't already, and it's your first time me checking out my content, I post a bunch of reviews, whether it's comic, movie, TV show, etc., as well as post my video game streams. But I'm close to my 400 subscriber goal, and once I reach that, I will be doing a Hot Ones challenge video in celebration. So currently I am gathering questions so I can collect a good set of 10 for later on in the future. When I do the video, I'll give you guys a shout out and answer whatever sad nerdy questions you might have, or just, you know, certain general topics. And yeah, just like 11 subscribers away, so I'm fairly close. So if you haven't already, please subscribe and share this my content with your friends or family who might be interested in certain content that I have available for the channel. And currently right now, as far as reviews are concerned, I am going currently through a lot of X-Men lineup. I got a couple that I'm gonna be doing after this video. So anyway, now I got all that out the way. Very recently, the Little Mermaid live action movie just came out, and no, I'm not really gonna be doing a review on that, because I really in general don't believe in these live action supposed remakes. There's only a couple that actually liked. One thoroughly enjoyed. I liked Maleficent, but I thoroughly enjoyed Cruella. Why being? Because these are, in my opinion, proper remakes. And if you see the title in the thumbnail, remake or remastered. Why I ask, is it a remastered? Because, and put it in terms of video game terms, a remaster is something that you already have, but with updated quality, while a remake is something that, you know, same, like this, put in like the same story, or same, like, I'm not saying story, but like just put in terms of, like, let's say like Final Fantasy VII Remake. We're still going through the whole adventure with Cloud, right? But there are some notable changes along the story path that you might be, like, the old school gamers might be familiar with, but they throw in certain things that wasn't there previously. They're altering the story slightly a bit, because you know, there's some deviation in terms of, like, using like time, in terms of deviation from the path that you would have been familiar with. I mean, if you haven't played Final Fantasy VII Remake, it's gonna be like slight spoilers, but the main bad guy somehow possibly like time travel or something like that. He's, you know, like really messing around with time a little bit and trying to alter certain things, and at the same time messing with the main character's head a bit, because you know things are going out of whack from what is previously done. You're still going through the main path, but along the way there's certain things that is supposed to happen, like a person's death, either doesn't happen like it's supposed to happen, or it happens later than it initially had happened, or earlier than it's supposed to have happened. That is a change. I consider that a proper remake. Or even Resident Evil 4 remake that just, you know, came out, which I did. Both these games I did complete walkthroughs, which you can find on my YouTube channel as well, youtube.com/talkativecarl. That is also, I consider, a remake, because they change certain things, because the developers are fully aware that all the old school gamers who grew up with Resident Evil 4 back in the day will just like, oh, they know the past, they know all the shortcuts, they know which bad guy they are anticipating to face. But no, they altered certain things along the way to give you some nice surprises. A remaster is something like the Last of Us game, which they did like at least a few remasters of those past two games, and there's no deviation from the story path. It's the same stuff with better quality to fit the game engine that you're currently going with. Because instead of playing on old model of a PS4, you can play on an updated model on the PS5. I got the definitions actually pulled out right here. So a remake: a movie or piece of music that has been filmed or recorded again and re-released. A remaster means that the taking the original track or tapes from the recording session, not stored release version, and run it through a model digital programs. So it's just, one is, there's like an alteration basically. One is an alteration, one is keeping the same stuff with updated quality. So here's the thing with the Little Mermaid. Like I said, like I heard and watched other people's reviews on this thing, because by and large, except from Maleficent, Cruella, and like I think Peach Dragon, I didn't watch Peach Dragon, but from what I'm hearing is also like a better remake. But they are the only three that alter some stuff. It isn't just high quality of like of the original story. They're, at least in terms of Cruella and Maleficent, these are prequels, which means that the writers and directors have to be forced to come up with something original that still fits in the narrative of the lore of this content, but showing you how they got to that way. The Little Mermaid, okay, I understand it's getting like, good reviews, but from what I'm hearing, those good reviews are coming from like beats in the scenes that, for the most part, maybe not everything, but for the most part, coming from original, the stuff from like the original that you already seen that's already good. Sure, they add in probably a couple of new songs, one of which, from what I'm hearing, is from like Aquafina's like character doing some scuttlebutt or something like that. And don't get me started from what I'm hearing about like Ariel's sisters, all from different I can't say the word, different races, and it's like you can just feel the hollow corporation involvement trying to pitch to like, oh, we gotta sell toys from all these different little girls that want their own Little Mermaid, and like, let's get an Asian one, and let's get a Middle Eastern one, blah blah blah. And it's like, it feels so hollow. Now, don't get me wrong. In case you don't know, if you look up, in throughout, like, history and different cultures in the past, they have their own variation of a mythical creature of a mermaid. Like, there is an African one. So it really plays to like the narrative of having like a black mermaid. But here's the thing, full well that people behind this movie didn't have that in their mindset in the writer's room, and they knew what the heck they was gonna get themselves into once they announced having like a black Little Mermaid. And they could like, they just want like the publicity, whether it's good or bad. They just want like, even if you go in there to hate watch it, it's still more money in their pockets. It's very hollow. It's like they haven't learned anything from like the movie Coco or Encanto. It's always 2 steps forward, 1 step back with Disney. But I've been telling friends, if you wanted to do a Little Mermaid remake, what I would have done is follow the same, blueprint as Cruella. Make a movie probably called Ursula, and set it in the past with like a young Ursula who's like, actually, had like, probably good qualities, and she was actually like a decent person, or octopus lady, and like a young Triton who is not king yet but a prince, and probably has like, arrogant attitude, very machoist, very kind of like, how Thor was in the first movie, very arrogant and like proud and like full of himself, and like, when he's gonna become king, he's gonna do all this kind of stuff. Doesn't have any sense of responsibility and what the station of being king means. And he has, a bunch of mer ladies, looking, up to him, like, very Chad bro-ish Tyrone attitude, that all the girls want him and everything like that. And he sees Ursula and he woos her, and it's like, you can probably lean into the whole, maybe the dangers of those kind of like, probably toxic masculinity, like true toxic masculinity. I know pseudo generalization, like the most feminists like to throw out willy-nilly. I'm talking about like very Chad bro, like telling you what you want to hear just so you can get in your pants kind of situation. And Ursula falls for this stuff because she's, kind of innocent girl that, doesn't probably know any better, and got swept off her tentacles. And of course, they woo he woo her, and they probably like, hook up. And then she's all smitten and thinks like, oh, we're gonna be together. And like, he actually wants me, even though I'm not like one of his, like his people, but he sees me kind of situation. But then after he got what he wanted, he sees what would be Ariel's mother. And matter of fact, Ursula should be played like a black woman, honestly. Like, as I grew up, looking at Ursula, I mean, most people see her as like kind of like a drag queen, but I kind of view Ursula something like a black woman. If you want to include like, some, person of color, honestly, I think like somebody, I think maybe like a young Queen Latifah, because you need somebody who can sing. That's another thing. Like, you gotta include actors who not only can act but can sing, so you don't have to do this lame auto tuning like you did with Emma Watson in Beauty and the Beast. So once he sees Ariel's mother, he's actually like truly smitten. this woman actually captured his heart. They vibe. She isn't falling for his kind of dude bro attitude. She sees all through that and really makes him a better person. And understanding like the plight of his kingdom and want to do better, learning responsibility through her and everything like that. And he ends up leaving Ursula for her. Ursula feeling slighted, and it's like, oh, you promised we'll be together. Why? That's like, why would you do all this stuff, and why would you mistreat me? She got a fragile insecurity or something like that, and that leads into her trying to, not only leads her to being exiled through the depths of the ocean, but try to destroy Ariel's mom and the kingdom, and is up to her and Triton to stop Ursula from bringing down the Sea Kingdom. And also probably because Triton was so frightened of the surface dwellers, tried to lead Ariel's mom up to the surface and endanger her life, because endanger somebody that's close to Triton, and instilling that fear that will lead to why he forbids his future children into going anywhere near the surface. And in the ensuing battle, Ursula is like, not destroyed but banished, and that could easily be like a proper live action remake of The Little Mermaid, but told through the eyes of Ursula, and have you feel for Ursula's plight, being mistreated, and felt like you probably feel for her for being like used by this young boyish guy who was immature and not obviously ready to grow up until somebody else made him grow up. And he tried to he tried to apologize to Ursula, but she ain't trying to hear it, because it's like, you led her on, and you played her, and like there's consequences all around kind of situation. Your consequences of being like a Tyrone or a Chad bro dude is coming home to roost. That would have been a proper Disney remake on the same utilizing the same blueprints as Cruella. Or the same thing with like The Lion King. They said they want to make a Scar movie, because currently right now there's actually a Disney comic book telling the tales leading up to the events, like through the eyes of Scar, leading up to the events of the Lion King story. And it's like, yeah, if you want to make a proper live action Lion King movie, probably, which is another thing people complain about, don't do. I see what like Jon Favreau was going with, but with this like Animal Kingdom-esque type of visuals, but you cannot get the same kind of facial expressions with live action animals as you would have with the cartoon. You can still make like a cartoonist looking warthog or meerkat or etc. in like on the same vein as like Detective Pikachu movie, where you got that same quality of like Pikachu is like a furry mouse, but still animated in a way that fits to like the core character that we all recognize. That's the same mistake as like the live action Sonic movie, where they're trying to give him ugly teeth and everything like that, but they reworked it to make it fit like, yeah, look straight up Sonic but with fur, like a realistic fur, but everything else is pretty much the same. So that's what they should have done, because like that Flounder and Sebastian the Crab they got going on looks ugly as sin. I mean, and that's something I want to discuss. I mean, like they need to stop calling it a remake, because it's not a proper remake. It's more of a remaster. You just doing the exact same thing, and just with updated quality. That's not a remake, in my opinion. What I was about to say. They should just do like a retitle, because I know it's semantics and it's buzzwords, but it's just, that's not a remake, honestly. And it'd be proper to call it the remastered Lion King, the remastered Little Mermaid, the remastered Beauty and the Beast, and remake Cruella remake. Or one, what call it, like, you just call it Cruella. I think it's like, I think it's like a properly named, but like Maleficent or something like that. If it's like a proper remake, you just call it something different. Or better yet, here's I was remember what I was going to say. It may not need to be a prequel, but telling a story in the same world as the Disney story. Like, it's kind of like, remember the TV show Timon and Pumbaa back in the day? Do something like that, like, a Timon and Pumbaa movie in the world of Lion King. That'd probably be a proper remake, or just a regular story in the world of the Lion King, or Beauty and the Beast. Tell a story of maybe like the witch that bewitched the Beast King, and his king and his entire castle, and tell her story. Or instead of a Cinderella remake, tell a story of, like a side story or a spin-off about the woman that, the godmother and the fairy godmother. There's other characters that you could probably tell other stories about that isn't either about the central character, or do something with the notable villain and tell their story before the events of the main story. That would have been if Disney want to lean into that, it'll be these kind of movies will be looked upon a lot more favorably, in my opinion. Sure, they made money, but mostly the general consensus is not really looked upon favorably. Aside, yeah, sure, live action Lion King, it made money, but critics, and I just want to say not even critics, but like the general audience, it's like, why would I want to go see the live action Lion King when I got a proper telling already in cartoon format? I mean, honestly, which one, if you put these two up and you ask people like, which version do you want to see? 9 times out of 10, they want to go to see the original cartoon animated one. Because honestly, you put up the original 101 Dalmatians cartoon and the Cruella. There's a lot of people who want to watch these two either back to back or watch the prequel before they lead into the cartoon one, because you can easily watch them back to back. They're not the same thing. You're not hearing the same, seeing the same 101 dogs, and hearing that, seeing them kidnapping all those dogs and putting them in a sack, and getting covered in soot just to conceal themselves and run away. You ain't seen that. The same thing, because why would I see all that when I can just watch the regular 101 Dalmatians? You can't not. That's what I'm saying. You cannot put those in a. It's not in the same paragraph. But that's something I just really want to get off my chest, because it's kind of like, sure, Little Mary might be making money, but it's like, other than seeing like a black Ariel, why would I want to see the same story that you can just watch the because it did set off the Disney Renaissance, but like, why would I want to see a live action Little Mermaid? If I want to see Little Mermaid, I'll go to see the animated one. I think a lot of people will be in agreement with that, except for maybe current little children who are watching this and they might have the different feels. But I'm pretty sure that parents either more than likely prior to the movie coming out, they show their kids the regular cartoon before they went to go see the live action version. I'm pretty sure they, a lot of people probably like the live action version, but I think the animated one is still slightly superior. And don't get me started on the live action Peter Pan that came out on Disney Plus not too long ago. It's just like, that's a whole jumble of a woke mess. I'm sorry, I know woke is like have negative connotations, but it's just so hollow. Like, honestly, you seen like the trailers with like, Wendy going up to the Lost Boys, but you're not all boys. It's like, and then some, because it's got some girls in it. If you look up in the history about that situation, about why they're all boys in the village of the Lost Boys, is because girls don't get lost the same way as little boys do, in terms of like the creation of the context of why that is. So that's why it's always all boys in the Lost Boys, because you gotta make it, everybody gotta be included, and it's like it just, I'm sorry, but it's just like, there's inclusion, and then just trying to like placate and pander, and it doesn't equate to enjoyability. Anyway, that's what I just want to get off my chest very quickly. But let me know what you guys think. Like, do you disagree? Do you agree? Because just to make it like understandable, I put it in terms of like video game terms, because video games have remakes and remastered, but they have like a clear definition on how, at least most of the time, they have a clear definition of what is considered like a remake and remaster, and it's like, you understand. And movies, if they're doing something like this, they need to rebrand a bit. Little Mermaid, Lion King, Beauty and the Beast, Cinderella, remasters. Cruella, Maleficent, Pete's Dragon, remakes. Very different. You might not think so, but if you like actually like, wade through the weeds, or at least pick it apart a little bit, the definition speaks for itself. And like, or at least use video games in terms of visual representation, that, like I said, The Last of Us remaster, Final Fantasy VII remake, and you look through like the walkthroughs or story beats, and look at the original games that came out a long time ago, and you look for yourself. Has one had some clear differentiations from the canon, and do the other playing the same beats? Anyway, I will see you guys in a few minutes. I'll have some new comic book review up pretty soon, as well as season 4 of the 90s X-Men that I want to break down for you guys, because I got a lot to talk about, like, on that one too. And then later on tonight, I will be doing some more Destiny 2 gameplay before I head into the Lightfall story. Anyway, I'll see you all in a little bit. Don't forget to leave a like, comment, subscribe, all the good stuff to Talkative Carl on YouTube. And follow me on Twitch as well if you want to check me out live anytime. And I will see you all soon. Take care.